one of the largest terrorists known to humankind and one of the most dangerous terrorist leader which has ever come across in the face of the earth. Today I'll be telling you about the story of Osama bin Laden, and many people might have heard this name or have heard this name, or they have been afflicted by some of the things which this particular person has done. And today I'll be telling you how this particular powerful terrorist was able to avoid and also run for a long period of time without being caught, and how he was able to be caught in the end run, and some of the mistakes which led him to be caught. And this particular person has led into the loss of many people's life, like the 9/11 which happened in the United States, and also a particular embassy which was bombed in Kenya, and it killed around 200 people, and also plus the 9/11 which was around the 2001. So this particular person was heading a particular organization which is the Al Qaeda terrorist organization. This organization was the biggest terrorist group which was ever known, and also which has ever come, and which had so much organization in the terrorist group, which partook its daily activities headed by this particular leader, which was Osama bin Laden, which led into the loss of many lives, which were mostly US citizens, because he deemed the US to be one of his greatest enemies, and his main point was to bring down the United States. So after the 2001 9/11 incident, many Americans and also many presidents of the America now decided to hunt Osama bin Laden down, no matter what it took for them to hunt him down. They'll make sure that he'll surrender and also be put to death. And this was happened after, in 2004, there was a particular presidential candidates which were looking and also vying to be the president of the United States. And that time, the presidential candidates which were vying for this seat were John Perry and also George Bush. And also one of their main agenda was to bring down Osama bin Laden. That was their main agenda, because the whole of America was frightened by this person. And before that particular elections and also that campaign, there was a footage which was released by Al Jazeera, and this particular footage was telling and also confirming to the world that Osama bin Laden is alive, and he was very proud of what he had done into the 9/11 incident. And this angered a lot of many Americans, and also angered a lot of the American army, because in 2001, the American army went into a war where they tried to flee and also take away the Al Qaeda which were in Afghanistan, which they eventually failed. They won that particular battle, and the Al Qaeda failed in that particular battle, because the United States were able to flee and also chase away the Al Qaeda in Afghanistan. And there was a particular region, the smallest region in that particular area, where there were very few soldiers which were remaining, and these particular soldiers were for the Al Qaeda. And these particular soldiers, there were only about 20 soldiers for the Al Qaedas which were being able to be caught. And these people inside those particular soldiers, there was Osama bin Laden. But unfortunately, Osama bin Laden was able to run away, and also he now became a fugitive. So that's when later on in the years, because this was 2001, later on in the years, during 2003, 2004, over there, after the 9/11 incident had already happened, Osama bin Laden released a particular video, and also saying that he's very proud of what he did, and cautioning also the America. This also angered a lot of Americans, because this particular person had the guts to just come back again, and he assumed that he was very free, and also he was very free, and nobody could do anything to him. So this angered a lot, and also made America very angry, because how can this person come out publicly, and he is just one particular person? So the Americans and also the presidents which were over there made and also vowed to catch this particular person, which was Osama bin Laden. So during these campaigns, the most captivating story which caught people's eyes is if a president tells the people that he'll be able to assassinate and also be able to capture Osama bin Laden, then the hearts of people will obviously be on that president, because everybody was angry at what happened in 9/11. And so investigations were already started. And also during that 204, the particular investigations which had already started in 2001, the investigations in 204 had no leads. It was better even the investigations which had already happened in 201, because in 201 they had so many leads, but later on in the years the leads were they were lost. So they started picking up themselves together in 2004 after Osama bin Laden released that particular footage. And that's now when people started becoming angry and for what Osama bin Laden had done. So in 2001, after that raid which happened in Afghanistan, they were able to catch soldiers and one of those soldiers which they were able to catch, they caught one particular soldier, and this soldier denied and said he is just an innocent person and he's just been caught without any type of reason. But when the FBI did some data, the CIA did some data checkup on his particular background and did what if he could be found, or he might be a victim, or he might be linked to the Al Qaeda. So that was one of the things which the CIA had to do. And after doing this particular checkup, they found that his fingerprint matched to a fingerprint which was tried to enter the United States in during 2001. And this particular person which tried to enter the United States in 2001 was before the 9/11 attack happened. So the police and also the CIA started becoming suspicious of this particular person and wanted to find more further information of him. So that's when now they started having a lead. And this is the person which now led to the finding of Osama bin Laden. And this was the first and also the greatest lead which will lead to finding Osama bin Laden. So after doing the background check and knew that this particular person was in that particular airport, now they were able now to do investigations on what happened during that day when he was in that airport. But unluckily he was refused and also denied to go to America during that time, because they suspected him to be not a normal citizen, just the normal security which is in the airport. So after being denied, that's when now they were able now to later find him when that particular raid happened in Afghanistan. So during that day, they decided to look at the CCTV footages of that day to see what happened during that day that when this particular person was in the when he wanted to enter the United States. So they were able to find out that he made a particular phone call, and not that he made a particular phone call, that somebody made a particular phone call that same day when this particular person was in that airport. So, and this phone call was made to a particular number which was blacklisted by the CIA, and this number was deemed to be Al Qaeda, and also Al Qaeda people which were living in the United Arab Emirates. So when the CIA were able to find a relation that this particular day that a number was made to the Al Qaeda headquarters which was in the UAE, then it might be this person which was in that day, the same day which that particular phone number was made. So the CIA continued looking for other informations and also the other ways where they could be able to link this particular person to the people which were able to bomb the 9/11 particular case in United States. So when they were looking, they were able now to find another lead where they saw a particular car which was parked in that airport where that particular person will be able to be picked up. And after looking for the trace and also the owner of that car, the owner of that car was the particular person which bombed and also was in that airplane which they hijacked in the 9/11. And after linking that, this was solid information to criminalize this particular person to be the one which was linked to the 9/11. And they knew that this particular person which was inside the airport waiting for this particular person was the one which he will be his partner when they will be when they will do this particular mission of hijacking that particular plane. So now they started grilling this person and looking for other information on what this person has, and also what kind of links will lead the CIA to identify the location of the Osama bin Laden, and also other locations which, and also other people where Osama bin Laden operates, and also the communication which Osama bin Laden takes. So it took also another 2 years where they were able now to find other ringleaders. But during this time, that particular person which was being caught, that person was able to say further people which are linked to the Al Qaeda, and also he was able to say the people which were the particular people which were the head of the Al Qaeda, second in command after Osama bin Laden. So they were able to be identified, and but this lead wasn't very significant, and also it wasn't so important that it will lead to the capture of Osama bin Laden. So some years after that, in around 2005 over there, they were able to find a carrier, and this particular carrier was a person which he had a letter which was being addressed to Osama bin Laden. So the CIA and also the police force of that particular country, which was, I think it was Pakistan, they were able to intercept this particular carrier. And after intercepting the carrier was able to spill beans that this particular letter he was taking it to a particular person called Abu Ahmed al-Kuwait, which means the father of Ahmed of Kuwait. So he was taking this particular letter to this particular person, and so the FBI didn't know the real name, and also didn't know the face of this person called Abu Ahmed al-Kuwait. They didn't know very well which type of person he was. They just knew that these letters come from him, and these letters also go to him because he will be able to take to Osama bin Laden. And most of the cases is that Osama bin Laden footages were being gotten out from the TV, and many people were able to get what Osama bin Laden says and also does. And this was one of the things which puzzled the CIA a lot, because they didn't know how Osama bin Laden used to communicate and also send these particular messages to news TVs like Al Jazeera, and also the member of the terrorist, which is Al Qaeda. They didn't know how he used to communicate with them. So after catching this particular carrier, it was a good breakthrough for them, because at least they knew where this particular letter goes to this person, which is called Abu Ahmed al-Kuwait. And after getting this, they started interrogating the other generals, the second in command after Osama bin Laden, and started asking him if he knows this particular person called Abu Ahmed. But that person denied and said that this person retired a long time ago. And during that time, they were able now to even question the two other members which had already been caught, and they also denied that this person had retired a lot. But this was very conflicting messages, because the carrier which was gotten with that particular letter said that this is a very important person to Osama bin Laden, and if you want to catch Osama bin Laden, you better talk to this person. But the other two leaders of that particular Al Qaeda group were refusing and saying that this person retired a long time ago. So it was very confusing for the CIA on who to believe and what to believe. But also one thing about the CIA, they had not also identified the location of this Abu Ahmed al-Kuwait. They hadn't identified the real location, because the name of Abu Ahmed was a nickname, and it wasn't the real name it wasn't his real name. So later on, during this time, it was during 2008 over there, it's when they were able to find the lead of Abu Ahmed. So during this time, they were looking for Abu Ahmed, and also they were trying to see where he lives and trying to pinpoint his location. So this happened later on in the years of 2010, where the CIA, they were able to get a particular phone numbers. There were around more than 20 phone numbers, which one of them will link to Abu Ahmed, which is known to be one of the key figures in the carrier system, which helped Osama bin Laden to communicate with the members of the Al Qaeda. So during this particular time, they were able to be given more than 20 numbers, which will pinpoint the location of this particular person. And after being given this 20 numbers, the CIA now started pinpointing and also crossing out the numbers which will lead to this particular person. So the first numbers which they were looking at if this particular person was speaking in a particular type of language, and if this person was hiding, and how did this person talk, and what are the some of the things which this person talked on his phone call. So they were able to pinpoint a particular person which was living in Pakistan. And this person was one of the things which led to the CIA to suspect this particular person, was that this person was, he sometimes was evading some questions, which most of the questions which he was asked about where his location is, he usually used to avoid them, and he didn't want to tell the other person which they were on the end of the phone with. He just avoided these particular questions. And one of the things also which led to the CIA to suspect this man is because most of the times his phone was usually off, and the particular time which he switched on his phone is when he was in a particular city center, and that's the only time which he switched his phone. So the CIA were able now to be suspicious of this man, and that's when now they started trailing this man and also pinpointing that particular type of man which was being looked for. So after pinpointing this man, the CIA had to go to Pakistan to look and also trail this man to where he might be. And this man, the CIA just knew that this man will be the one which will lead them to find Osama bin Laden. Either they will lead him to the house of Osama bin Laden, or they will catch him and torture him. But when the CIA were trailing this particular person, they just trailed until where he reached into a particular compound. And this compound was very big, and this was a shock for them, because a person which was just a not so important person to have a big compound like this. And they started looking more on this particular compound, and they were able now to find out that in this particular compound, Osama bin Laden lives in that particular compound. What usually Osama bin Laden did was to give letters to this person, and this person was able to distribute it to other members of the Al Qaeda, and also tapes to other members of the Al Qaeda. So the communication group of Osama bin Laden was already stationed, and one thing about them, they were very smart on what they usually did, because somebody like this Abu Ahmed al-Kuwait, which was hiding and also removing his battery until he reaches a particular point in the city, is where he can be able to put that battery inside the phone and be able to communicate. These are some of the things which prolonged their period of time to be caught by the CIA, and also prolonged for them to be pinpointed to their exact location. And you can just imagine the type of technology which United States has, and to be able to locate a singular person in the world by a large country like the United States took so long, more than even 10 years, to find the real location of his. So in August 2010, they were able now to find and also see the compound of Osama bin Laden, and also knew that Osama bin Laden was living in that compound. So later on in the year, which was in 2011, during this time, Barack Obama was the president, and also George Bush was out from becoming the president of America. So Barack Obama sent Navy SEALs to go to that particular location, and it had to be very silent, and they didn't want to inform the Pakistani government and also anybody to know that they were doing this raid. And this raid took place around 2 a.m. during the night. And one of the key problems with this particular raid, that the location where Osama bin Laden was located, he was located in a location which was near to a training Pakistani army camp, and they usually were training. So a radar of the radar will pick up a US helicopter very easily. So it was very hard, and it was also a challenging challenging mission for them, which they had to undertake. So that's the story of Osama bin Laden and how he was able to be caught. And one of the main reasons which led to Osama bin Laden to be caught is communication. Osama bin Laden couldn't do it without communication. And one of the things, he was a proud man. He wanted to still remain significant, and this also led to his downfall. They were able to intercept one of his carriers, and the carriers were able to lead to the location of Osama bin Laden. So that's the story. And if you like this story, please give this story a thumbs up, and let me see you next time. And I say thank you.